I'd like to talk a little bit today about dividing property in divorces. Now, normally, you're going through a divorce. It's a very difficult time, obviously. Most of your efforts are going to be focused on dividing the marital assets, dividing the marital debts, like the houses and the credit cards and the retirement accounts, and worrying about the children if you have children. What's the custody arrangement going to look like? Fortunately, more often than we'd like, people get into fights over personal property. Now, what is the personal property in a divorce? It's the stuff. It's the couch, it's the office furniture, it's the kitchen appliances, it's the personal property. What is that stuff going to be worth to the court? It's essentially going to be what it would sell for if you were to sell it to the public in an open market, not the replacement value. So what is that $2,000 or $3,000 couch worth? Probably a couple $100. So usually it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to spend attorney time to fight over this stuff. And unfortunately, many people do. And so I like to always caution my clients when you get involved in these disputes that there's a law of diminishing returns here. If we were to take everything in your house, wherever you live, and sell it according to the court's normal rules, it would be worth a tenth of what you probably spent for it when you bought all of it. And you're going to hire somebody like me if we spend a day working on this personal property over the course of the case. You've now spent $2,400 or more fighting over this property. That kind of thing adds up quick. You'd be surprised. So the more time you spend talking about personal property, that tends to be a losing proposition. You would spend the same amount of money or less replacing the property that you're arguing about. But there are times when that's not the case, clearly. Collections, for example. If you had an art collection that was worth $10,000. If you had a collection of baseball cards, for example, that was old and many of them signed by the original players are worth $25,000. That is a different example. Those things are going to be valued as an asset and they're probably going to have an appraisal. There are obviously other times that personal property becomes an issue. Grandma's china, for example, sometimes parties will attach a sentimental value to property. And it's understandable if they brought things with them from before they were in a relationship and they want to take that stuff with you. Okay, understand that if the other side wants that too, you're probably going to have to pay a premium for it. Or even if the other side recognizes that you want that thing so much that you might be willing to overpay for it. That particular strategy can also be used for your benefit if you are the kind of person who doesn't care that much about personal property. If the other side has a thing that they want, you might be able to get some concession for it, like better clause in your parenting plan about a particular issue that's important to you, or a better deal on your retirement, or something along those lines. If they have a thing that they want so badly, it can be used to your advantage. For a regular personal property, usually the regime is everybody kind of makes a list and you put down the stuff that you want to take with you and you compare those lists with the other side. If those lists don't interact very much, then people take things and go on their merry way. If there is a list of things that are contested, you'll take that, usually maybe flip a coin, who gets to pick first, and then you start taking things off of that list until that list is exhausted. And once it's done, it's done. And that's how the court wants us to handle it. If you start arguing in court over grandma's china, the first thing you're going to get is a roll of the eyes before they look at the attorneys and say, all right, guys, you guys figure it out. I don't want to deal with it. Because if you do go to trial over personal property, here's what's going to happen. It's going to get all collected in an estate sale and it's going to be sold to people in general public for that low amount. And you're going to split the value. And that value is not going to be nearly enough to compensate you for the personal property that you lost. One other piece of advice. Oftentimes, parties will separate right at the beginning of a divorce case, and somebody's no longer living in the marital home. It is very infrequent for a court to give the out-of-the-home person an opportunity to come back into the home to go searching for their personal property. If you have any clue that you are going to be beginning the divorce process and moving out to another place, it's advisable to collect your things ahead of time and take as much as you can with you when you move, because otherwise you're going to be working off of that list. And if you can't remember anything, you might end up having to let it go unless you can remember it in time for the case to be over. But at the end of the day, this is an issue that should be given as little attention as possible if your divorce is going to be efficient. It is advisable, and even when working with an attorney, to come into a case with a clear idea of what you want to take with you and make a list. But again, personal property should not be the biggest thing. If we can help you in any way on this issue in your divorce case, feel free to give me a call. My name is Eric Cherry, N.P. Weiss Law, South Florida.